I know it feels like family. I feel like I know everybody in the room. But just in case you don't know who I am, my name is Mira Awad. Yes, quite an achievement with that name. I know. I was like, wow. Yeah, I made it with that name. Right. So I am a Palestinian, Israeli citizen of Israel, Palestinian. Yeah, an artist, an activist, today's artistic director, and master of ceremony. I can't tell you how much I love the English language. I mean, master of ceremony. I thought MC was like microphone carrier or something, but no. Imagine my joy when I realized that this is like I get to the master of the ceremony. Wow, it's like it has gravitas. It's like it has grandeur, but it also brings a big responsibility because now like I have to master the hell out of the ceremony. Okay, so um, we, but yeah, but maybe better than maybe it's better like that. Okay, so you've probably noticed my lovely assortment of pins, and if you haven't, well, this is exactly why I'm mentioning it. As you can see, we have amazing artists with us today. Julia Vogel, Jacqueline Nichols, and Leo Rosman have joined us, have graciously responded to our invitation to come and create interactive art that humanizes the conflict. Yes, humanize. That was the only prompt they got. And yet, I mean, so basic, right? To humanize people, but so hard to come by nowadays. So thank you, the artists, for being with us today. And if you, yep. And if you haven't had the chance to encounter them and engage with them yet, don't worry. We're going to go back to that at the end of the small program that we've prepared. So you would be able to roam the 2 floors that we have here. Julia is just in the back. Jack and Leor Roseman are downstairs. Please walk around and explore what these guys have prepared for us today. I knew you liked it. So the last 2 years have been devastated and traumatic. I'm sure I'm not saying anything new to anyone. Oh, now you sigh. Now you shut up. So only trauma and devastation. I see. So devastating and traumatic. It has been. It has been very difficult. And that's why I have Julia's heartbroken pin on my chest. But I also have the hopeful pin on my chest because, you know, looking around this room, we can meet a lot of the people who are working tirelessly to change our bleak reality. So I am hopeful. We are celebrating 2 mega generators of hope tonight, Hanan Estana and Avner Gvaryahu. But I personally think that each and every one of you in the room is an agent of change, a creator of hope. So thank you for being here and supporting everything that the NIF does. I was working with the NIF before I actually knew that they existed. I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but it wasn't. For the last 30 or so years, I have collaborated with numerous organizations in Israel that strive towards equality, social justice, shared society, and democratic values. However, it was only 10 years ago when I was invited to London to receive the 2010 NIF Human Rights Award that I realized that behind all the wonderful organizations and initiatives I so admired hovered like a loving fairy godmother or a sturdy British umbrella, if you like, an entity that funded these projects, guided them, and supported them. I mean, you name it, the NIF is backing it. Standing Together, Combatants for Peace, The Bereaved Family Circle, B'Tselem, Breaking the Silence, Zazim, Ofik, Physicians for Human Rights, Rabbis for Human Rights, Adala, Tag Meir, the Abraham Initiatives, Itach Ma'aki, Women Waging Peace, the list goes on and on and on. Literally everything that you can be proud of as an Israeli connects to the NIF. So I am very proud to be here tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Nodine Cohen. I'm the chair of the New Israel Fund. And we've been doing this for close to 15 or 16 years, honoring the work of activists like Avner and Hanan, who fight continuously and we know will continue to fight for a safe, just, and democratic Israel. So before I give Avner the award, I would just like to read out what we've written here to honor the work that you do. The Human Rights Award 2025 is awarded to Avner Gevrayu for his courageous leadership in amplifying the voices of Israeli veterans, confronting the realities of occupation, and championing truth, accountability, and human rights in pursuit of a just and democratic Israel.
Now can I keep it?
Yes. Hanan, I know that we all share your dream, the dream of a land in which Israelis and Palestinians can live together with equality, justice, and democracy. And spending time with you this week, I know that your dream can become a reality, and you inspire all of us to be part of your dream, not just women, all of us. And I'm sure everyone could see through that movie just how much of an inspiration you are. So before I give you this award, I'd just like to read out what's written here. The 2025 Human Rights Award is awarded to Hanan Al-Sana for her pioneering work to advance equality, opportunity, and recognition for Bedouin women in the Negev, and her leadership in building justice, dignity, and partnership across Israeli and Arab communities. Thank you for all you do, Hanan. Now you can keep it. You don't have to give it.
All right, guys, first of all, congratulations. This was a very brief but very emotional award ceremony that we had here. Your stories are incredible, and we're all very inspired by both of you. I'm going to start. Shh, guys, hi, I can hear you. Ah. Okay. I'm going to start with a question for both of you. So feel free to answer whenever. Like I said before, the last 2 years have been devastating. And even people with high levels of agency and optimism have struggled to keep their spirits up. I can talk for myself. You two are being honored today because in the darkest moments you managed to create hope, and in time of crisis, you rise up to the occasion. We all admire it, but we're all asking, how do you do it? What keeps you strong? What keeps you sane?
So first of all, I would like to thank you, Mira. I'm very happy that you meet here also, and I would like to thank the New Israel Foundation that all the time they are supporting me, even when I wrote the first position paper to the Knesset committee. Thank you, New Israel Foundation, for the support and for the work. The strength, القوة.
Yes, how do you find the strength in this devastating time?
Okay, as you saw in the short video, the strength is basically came from my personal journey and personal story, because also the personal, for me as a woman, as a girl, is a political, and the political is personal. As all the women in all the world, especially indigenous women. Because also for every dream, I look at my own journey and I see that every time that I have been told for every dream, I dare to dream that it's impossible, you cannot do it, you are not allowed to do it. And 15 years later, I found myself before the UN committee, CEDAW committee, Women Committee, speaking about the rights of the Bedouin women, and because also my complex identity as a Bedouin, indigenous people, part of the Arab Palestinian citizen of Israel, and I am also Israeli, and I am peace builder. So all of this give me the strength to all the time make me feel that hope it's not feeling for me. It's like it is a decision. I found myself that all my life I have a new position. It's to create a hope from every crisis. Is it social crisis, political crisis? Always I found myself that I have a new position to create the hope. And to be honest, the strength also thanks to the people, the activist people, the good people that live in Israel and in Palestine, that they are struggling every day and pay a very high price for equal and for democracy for everybody. And from there.
Avner? Yeah, yeah. Yes, feel free to be kind. Yes, we do that. We like that. No? Okay, Avner?
Me and Hannah know each other from an amazing program called The Alliance, which was started by Michael Menkin, who was one of the receivers of the Human Rights Awards, I think maybe 2 years ago, and one of the founders of Breaking the Silence. Maybe some people in this room know him. I think I look at him as one of my rabbis and teachers. And the Alliance is a group of leaders, Jewish Arab leaders, all citizens of Israel. And most of these kinds of groups, of leadership groups and people in the space of leaders of organizations or thinking about the political career and so on, after October 7th were either just, silent or broke up. That's what happened in a lot of these spaces. And the Alliance was interesting because it basically, if most of these programs say, we can agree about 80%, so let's talk about that 80%. The Alliance is a space where you talk about the things you disagree. And what that did after October 7th is sort of force conversations onto us that were challenging, that were hard, but pushed us all forward. There was a meeting that we had in Nazareth where, everyone came with the devastation, with the fear. I think it was maybe 6 months into the war. And there was a feeling of some of the Israeli Jews of like, maybe it's time to leave. And I remember the pushback that was in the room of like, so that means you're leaving us with Ben Gvir? Right? I mean, that was sort of that conversation, which was at any given moment, okay, we'll just, and I think that part of, I don't know if it's hope, but what I think forces me or forces us to continue is the end our communities, right? The people living through this. Remember the first 24 hours, the amount of Palestinians I know from the West Bank that we work with daily who are reaching out. Are you okay? Are your family okay? I mean, these bonds, these links eventually are what propels you to continue challenging yourself. But I will say, because I think it's this evening or this week it's all about we have to like show hope. There isn't a lot, right? It's a very dark moment. And I think that civil society is sometimes like a vision of what could be, and we're like living the opposite, right? We're living in this devastating, very dark moment. And I think that the question is, it's not only like how do you find hope for the sake of hope, but how do you find hope for the sake of political change? Because we need to translate the energy and the connections and what the Alliance does, or what the civil society organizations do, to tangible, real change. Because otherwise, it's like cheerleading, but we need something different. And I think that that's what keeps pushing forward people. We need something very different from what's happening now. Yeah.
It's it's interesting what you said, that it's difficult to show hope sometimes. And I feel like the discourse a lot of times is, how do you keep optimistic? You're pessimistic, you're optimistic. And for a long time, I've been suggesting, like, let's change the terminology. I'm not optimistic because I'm not a fool. Okay, if I see that the situation is dire, it's very bad, then how can you be optimistic if the trajectory is very negative? However, I'm very realistic. And realism says that if we keep on doing the same actions, we'll get the same results. However, if we shift the trajectory, we change the actions, we get a different result. And therefore, I think that's like the realm where it's very hard sometimes to model hope and optimism, because there isn't any. But we do model realism where we can achieve that change. Now, Hanan, in the movie, the short film that we saw, and you said it now again with the impossibility of your life. I mean, I understand, as a Bedouin female woman activist, a lot of impossibles. You heard a lot of impossibles in your life. A lot of people told you that this is impossible, that is impossible, but you broke all these impossibles. However, in the short film, you said that October 7th, suddenly there was something that made you feel it's impossible. Can you tell us about that? What was impossible at that moment?
Yes, because as all my love, they educate us and make us believe that we are live in a strong state. And October 7, with attack like this, the state, it's not only wasn't there, it couldn't protect the civilians and the citizens there. And who did it? It's the NGOs and the civilian people who were there and protect the peoples. And I ask myself, maybe it's the Israel, the democracy, the strong, couldn't protect us from this attack. And after that, I realized that, no, I will not give up. I should think optimistic and create the hope. And for me, it's not only feeling, it's as I said, decision, it's action plan, it's the strategy to do something. And I do believe that strong state, it's not means that you have a strong army. It's not means that you have strong soldier and weapons. I found out that the state is weakness because we lost the democracy, because we have inequality, because this government disconnect from the people and their really needs. Their needs, the basic things, social security, and we don't have it. And they do not protect the minority. And I believe strong state who have equal for all the civilians and the security and the citizens and democracy. And not only that a strong state aware the importance of sustainable peace for all the residents in Israel and in Palestine, and women should be part of decision makers, because with this government we don't have women in the government, and that's what brings us to this situation. If we have more women around the decision makers and in the government, I believe, and even also in the negotiation, it's not only I'm saying that, it's also the research. The UN Women research show that when women involved in peace negotiation, they bring different kind of peace, lasting peace, justice peace, and also a different kind of security.
Amen. Avner, in a previous conversation we had, you said a sentence that stuck with me. You said October 7th was a test. It was a test, and we failed. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit of what I alluded to before. If you think about the work of civil society organizations, especially in the situation that we're in, you're sort of trying to show different possibilities, different options, trying to build sort of this net in society that can deal with big disasters. And I think that for those of us that have been sort of striving for peace, right, we're in a moment where that seems farther than ever. For those of us fighting for equality within Israeli society, right, that seems farther than ever, right? Trying to oust out Ayman Ude from parliament, right? Violent rhetoric that has been legitimized, the sentiment that there's, no innocent Palestinian in Gaza and so on. So I think that in many aspects that is something that we have to think about and reckon with. Like, how is it that we're in a moment that we have a feeling of this disconnect between what we know is right and just and true and who is holding the power? But I think that although there is, and I think this is a feeling we have to walk around with, right? That the October 7th wasn't only an ongoing catastrophe, and I think that the horrific attacks of Hamas, which I think are not actions, but also historically, I think Palestinians for millennia forward, they're going to have to, think about what that means for them. What does that mean about them? In the same way, I think that Jews, not only in Israel, are going to have to think about what is this devastation that we put upon the people of Gaza, destruction to the ground of cities. From our perspective as Breaking the Silence, we met close to 200 men and women that have served in this war. And they came forward with horrible stories, definitely war crimes, something that we as organizationally, we're not an organization of lawyers, like weary of saying this, definitely war crimes. I think definitely in the realm of crimes against humanity. Using Palestinians as human shields, systemically, not occasion here or there. Total destruction of agriculture and homes, and of course, we've seen the videos, we've seen the reality in the West Bank is nothing but ethnic cleansing, supported by. This is all happening now. This is unfolding now. And I think as this is unfolding, we have to, on the one hand, say, okay, we understand that we haven't managed to stop this tsunami of death. We haven't. And maybe it's a
And
task.
still haven't.
And still aren't. Maybe this is a task too big. Maybe. But if it's not, and if we don't have any other option but fighting it, then I think that part of what we have to be thinking about is, and this is, I think, for the people sitting in the room, not only for us Israelis, but also for you sitting here in London or across Europe or in the US or everywhere. This is happening not only because of the Israeli leadership. This is happening because of international backing. This is because of geopolitics. This is happening also because of silence of people with power. And I think this is a moment where we have to think about how can we stand together? How can we make sure that we're thinking strategically? How do we not only support us, which is great, which is important, but also what's the mobilizing and organizing that has to happen in your community? What do your governments have to do? And I think that this is a moment that we're so deep in the darkness that we have to do whatever we can to make sure that there'll be light. And I don't think we have any other option but to fight for that.
Thank you. By the way, I saw before that you stood here for a photo op, 3 generations. Your father, who was a previous winner of the same award for Tag Meir, yourself and your son. So, yes, So, what lies ahead for you, and maybe even farther into the future for your son?
Well, now I'm going to start crying.
There you go, my TV moment.
Which it's good. We should normalize men crying
There,
publicly, right?
thank you, Avner.
Yes.
Yes.
No, we're definitely a second generation of men crying. I mean,
Good.
I think that if you look at the innovation and original thinking and people that are within really unbelievable situations coming out of it with ideas and cooperation, and I mean it's you're sometimes really at awe, like thinking how quickly people mobilized after October 7th. In everything, not only when it came to the spaces that the government wasn't in, but also in terms of re-strengthening connections with Palestinians in Gaza, and eventually also stepping in where the world has failed with redistributing aid. I mean, there has been including the New Israel Fund, which I think has really in this past 2 years. And I say that not only because of the award, but I think this is real. And I think part of the reason that the New Israel Fund has always been on the radar of the right, and even more so now, is because the New Israel Fund was very smart in reorganizing and re-strategizing and saying, this is a long run, this is the short run. We're going to now put aid, but we're also going to put money for strategy. I mean, it's pretty amazing, really, when you think about what the Israeli society, what Palestinian society has been going through. You still have these bonds and connections. I think part of the question is, at what moment can we actualize that in the real world beyond the spaces of human rights organizations, civil society, right? It's about translating that to actual power. It's about saying, how do we make sure that our ideas are real in the world? The only way to do that in Israel, is cementing, is strengthening the bond between Jews and Palestinians, citizens of Israel. That's the only way forward. If you look at every poll that's on air in channel 12, 11, 13, you have two blocks and the Arab parties. There's two blocks, right? There's the right, Bibi, then there's the right, which is Bennett, but they call it the left, right? And then you have the Arab parties. Now part of the way to break that is to actually say, to move forward, like we're doing this together. It doesn't mean in the same party per se, it could be, but it doesn't have to be in the same party. That's the only way to get out of this block that it's 50 shades of right, right? Actually thinking and looking forward, building a future that isn't ever-ending war. That's the only way. The way is building that political bond that can translate into, inshallah, peace. But even before peace, it's building and promising a future that is not construction of settlements in Gaza or the Trump Riviera or Ben-Gvir and Smotrich continuing with apartheid. That's the only way. And the leadership is there. The leadership, I believe, is there. And I think that's really the most important thing we can do politically, but also what I find the most hopeful.
Thank you. I have an anecdote about the Arab parties. I was a panelist on an Israeli TV like a current event show, the Lucy Hiresh Sicha Yomit. So I was like a weekly panelist there. And one time I'm arguing with this guy who was obviously right-wing. And at some point, we're talking about the ex-Shabak, head of Shabak, and I'm saying, you can't even, I was saying, like, listen to what this guy is saying, and he's not even a left-wing, right? Like, he's talking sense, and he's not even left-wing. And so this guy attacks me somehow, and he says, and he tells me something, and eventually I said, like, listen, the left wing, and I'm pointing at myself, and he goes, you can't be left wing, you're Arab. This is on national TV. You can't be left wing, you're Arab, because the Arabs are not left, they're not right, they're the Arab parties, right? So if you're Arab, there's no such thing left, right? You're Arab. So yeah. Hanan, I know that this award means a lot to you. I felt it when you received it. Can you tell me about that?
It means me a lot. First of all, that it's not a word only for Hanan. It's for every Bedouin woman who are dealing up with the political and social oppression.
Yes.
Who are, especially the Bedouin women who participated in the adult education project since 2002 and they invested in their daughters' education and futures. When I sent them the news that I'm going to get the award, they were very happy. Their happiness make me feel so proud and more hopeful. So it also means for me that human rights, it is the right way, and we will not give up. It means for me that the international community, it's very important to bring social justice, democracy, and we are not alone. There is people that support us, and they are support us. So it's also for the men that believed in our way, and they became as a partners. For me, it's also for the people from the Palestinian side and the Israeli side, and after even the attack and the war and the occupation and settlement, they believe in peace, and they believe that we can live together in a shared home and a shared society. And thank you so much for this.
You deserve it. And just a last note, what do you see happening ahead? Because, woman, I would vote for you to be prime minister. You have my vote.
If you ask me, after October 7, I said myself, what we did wrong? There is something wrong happening. It's not only the state. It's something also in us. I said, okay, it's because it's true that we invest a lot in social women leadership, but we also, unfortunately, ignore the very important sector that women should also involved and be leaders in the political, and they have to lead the government, to be in the government and lead the state, because women who believe in human rights, they will build and bring the justice and peace for everybody.
So is that a plan?
Yes, I'm going to be one of the decision makers in
Yes!
Israel.
Thank you.
This isn't a plan. I'm working on myself a lot.
You already planted a lot of hope here. Thank you both. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for doing everything that you can, that you are doing, and that you probably will be doing for the rest of your lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you.